I'm Shane Jenkins, back with Ethan Nordine on another episode of Liberty's Cage. Thank you all for tuning in. We do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Sugar Creek Goods. Go to sugarcreekgoods.com. Promo code Liberty, and you can get a discount. They have a wonderful company. I encourage you to go to their website. They're on Instagram, I believe. They just sent me something in the mail the other day. I haven't even opened it up yet, but they have, like, I use the body butter. I hear the insect repellent is really good. The soaps are awesome. So just check it out. Support American-made products, made in America by hardworking Americans. And I know the lady there was a full-time male person. She's trying to get out of that and just get into this full time. So we want to try to help her do that. Again, it's sugarcreekgoods.com, promo code Liberty, and you get a discount, and we get a little kickback on the discount. So, again, I'm back with Ethan Nordine, and we were talking about, I think you wanted to talk about our leaders, like potentially, and trusting the plan. And I don't know exactly what the plan is, but.
Yeah. Well, the whole narrative of trust the plan, and this idea that there's all this backdoor secret society stuff happening on our behalf, and we just got to trust it. And it, it just kind of speaks to, like, is that courage? Is that courageous acts of good, strong men who call themselves Christian, a lot of them? Is this godly behavior to say kind of work behind the scenes, behind closed doors, in secret? Or is it more like good Christian men to call out the enemy boldly, right, and make sure that your people that are following you are aware and are led properly and aren't confused and aren't sitting in this passive, stagnant place of desperation, like we see a lot of people. And I'm speaking primarily right now to the MAGA movement. Mm-hmm. Because I have we both have a lot of family and friends and a lot of diehard, American patriots. And I would just challenge you to try to focus on who you're following. Is it primarily that you are following Jesus? Or is it that we are putting all our hopes and all our aspirations in these elected officials, right? I have some criticisms towards Trump. Obviously I'm still waiting for my pardon. And I think that, I oftentimes use a situation like, let's just say you have a daughter or a niece and she gets sexually assaulted and she comes to you first. Mm-hmm. And you say, I know this is a really bad, horrible thing that happened to you. It's really unfair. But I gotta do a couple things first. Got stuff that I gotta take care of before I can really address this, And you wait a week, a couple months, and almost a year. And now what's happened is the importance and the precedent behind that has now been lost. Wow. There's a trust that's been decimated, and a degree of importance, for, I guess, that genuine human interaction of saying, hey, I'm going to take this and I'm going to make it a priority because this was bad. What happened to you is bad. And Trump dropped the ball there, for guys like us and all sorts of other people that have been affected by COVID, lost their jobs, who, incurred permanent damages from maybe the vaccine or were threatened or whatever, Yeah. And everything else, the Catholics and the Christians that were arrested for protesting, the abortion clinics.
The soccer moms that were getting followed by the FBI because they were protesting the gender, the guys
there's no
boys and girls bathrooms or whatever, yeah.
There's no sense of urgency to say, hey, we're going to take a moment and really dive into this because this was bad. This was what happened. And I recently was, I spent a lot of time listening to people kind of dive into scripture and bring it out in a way that's relatable to what we're going through right now. And there's a lot of indication that we're in the end times, and I think everybody's kind of believed that, but I really see that there's some things that indicate that we are truly in the end times, that evil is really showing its head, and this is kind of, the time to really call forth everything you have to be present in what God is calling you to do. And our leaders, we get confused. It's who's who, who's on our side. And I think the easiest thing to do is read, I think it was Matthew 7:12 or Matthew 7 something, whereas you will know them by their fruits. And so we have all these people saying all kinds of things. Oh, don't worry, we're going to investigate this. We're going to start this. Trust the plan. And they give us little crumbs of the cake, and they give the cake to somebody else. And I'm at a point now where I see men like you. I see men like a lot of guys that we met along the way through our journey who are great guys. It really breaks my heart to see what they endured, what their family endured, what they lost. And
still
also
enduring as well, though,
Right. And also that break in their spirit, being released and thinking, having all these hopes, and man, I'm going to be made whole and things are going to be okay. And, justice is going to come about and we're going to be acknowledged and we're going to be celebrated for what we went through. And we held the flag the whole time, man. Yeah. And to watch them just kind of that light dim, and I think that was my line in the sand. I said, okay, you know what? These are not men that I am going to follow anymore, because I don't believe that these men are following Jesus. I don't. This is a Christian country, and I don't care who says otherwise. This is a Christian country, and we need to be having leaders who operate knowing that they're leading Christian men and women. I don't see that any of these leaders are producing fruit that is worth eating and worth buying into, if or lack thereof, any fruit at all. And I'm also open-minded at the same time. If this, if Trump just said, "Hey, I had a whole lot of shit on my plate. I got to do," I understand that the president of the United States has a lot on his plate, and there's a lot of global things going on. I get that. I'm not trying to be like, "Hey, look at me, put the limelight on me." But I see that the morale of our country is dwindling very quickly. And
I do want to, let me add something to this. I want to say, I was told personally by somebody close to Trump that he told them that he was losing sleep at night because of what we were enduring in there, and that's fair. I also understand he's in charge of the whole free world. My concern is the people around him that gatekeep him, that keep him from us. And so, I just want to throw this out here. The J6 Prison Choir has a song coming out December 19th. It's called The Anthem of the Free, and it's with the J6 Prison Choir and a guy named High Res. If you haven't, I don't know if you know who that is, you should definitely look him up. It's HI-REZ. The song is phenomenal. It's us singing in Miami at the studio. Phenomenal experience. But Trump was super excited to hear that this song is coming out. And so I do think that there is going to be an opportunity to get before him. And I'm with you. I have some issues with Trump. I have the utmost respect for him pardoning us, commuting others. But I also have a problem. I've come to find out that I have a problem with people kissing this wall over there and taking more money from those people than anybody else in America. And it seems like, to me, I think that organization, AIPAC, should be registered as under FARA, which is a foreign agent registration act, where if we had, let's just say it was Iran sending all this money to America, and all these people are kind of like, we're going to just kind of ignore what Iran does. I think that's foreign influence in our government, under Congress, Senate, all those things. And so I have a huge problem with that. I also think that, I think we have an opportunity, and I told you earlier, Sarah McAbee and myself will be going on RG Media in the UK, which is the largest media company in the UK, and we're going to hope that it boomerangs back to somebody in the Trump administration so we can bring to light the 4 people who died, the people that are unpardoned, and all those things. We are not giving up that fight. We are still fighting. Standing the Gap is still fighting for all of you who have not been pardoned. It has just been an uphill battle, man. The gatekeepers, and one of the main gatekeepers is Susie Wiles, and she's his chief of staff, and so it's very difficult. We do have an ace in the hole that we feel like we can get a hold of him, but And we're in the process of doing it. It's very frustrating. I can only imagine, I mean, honestly, I've been living unpardoned my whole life. So I've been, but for
man,
me, it's not fair for y'all, man. It's not fair for y'all. I just want to say that. It's not fair.
It isn't fair, but again, we are living in a time where we have the Great Awakening, we have the pinnacle of this great war that has been waging for years, and we get to be a part of being in the front line. And Jesus said, "They will hate you because of me," and I take that with a badge of honor.
Yeah.
And I have to remind myself all the time: this unfairness, the extra work, the constantly working against the stream, the uphill battles. What that's doing is sculpting us into the men that we're called to be. And also, it's giving us an advantage over our enemy, because do you think that any of them are dealing with this and could operate as effectively as they are now?
I don't know.
If they had to deal with what we're dealing with, it is fortifying within us our mind, our body, and our spirit.
Yeah.
And I think that it's really cool to see a lot of people coming together and coming to this kind of realization at the same time, because I think that's probably the most dangerous thing that our enemy could, hope to ever fight, is a force that doesn't give a shit. Man. You can take anything you want from me. You can call me whatever you want. I only listen to one thing.
You can cancel me. You can debank me. You can throw me in solitary. You can send me to prison. You can try to give me a life sentence.
You can do it.
You can take my life.
Me. I'll come back as a Super Saiyan angel and crush you.
Right. Well, so the analogy I like to use, and we got a few extra minutes. The analogy I like to use is the analogy of like a piece of iron ore being made into a sword. It's thrust into the fire. It's beaten. It's quenched. It's cooled down. It's ground. It's polished. All the process of making a sword is such a. We used to watch Forged in Fire all the time in the DC jail, and it's the process. It's a very violent process, and it's like they say, iron sharpens iron. It's the same thing. It's a violent thing. It is something to see something honed into a weapon that is going to be used for the kingdom. And you're right, because these people haven't faced this battle that we've faced. I mean, my whole life has been a freaking battle, but you guys have been fighting in the streets as Proud Boys and fighting for justice and what's right. And so that's what the beauty of this is. Like it does say, I do still feel like it's unfair, but however, what does it say in James 1? It says, "Count it all joy."
Yeah.
You encounter trials and tribulations, basically. I'm paraphrasing that, but count it all joy.
Consider it an honor, yeah.
But yeah, it's an honor. It is an honor. And I just want to say, we got to get off here, but I want to say it's been an honor to know you as a man and as a friend, and I'm thankful for your leadership, and I'm thankful for your love and for your brotherhood, man.
Absolutely, man. You as well. It's great. It's been great meeting you. Good to know you, man. And I hope we can continue this relationship for the rest of our lives.
Well, I'm Shane Jenkins. This has been Ethan Nordine. You will be seeing more of both of us, but this is going to be the end of Liberty's Cage for today. But thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you for supporting the America First Warehouse. Go to the AmericaFirstWarehouse.com. Joe the Box and the crew. Love everybody over there. I know a guy over there. We'll see you next time, and God bless you, Ethan. God bless you, America. Thank you for tuning in.
You too.
Have you noticed your money just doesn't stretch like it used to? Your paycheck feels lighter, and your savings aren't growing. The culprits? Inflation and increased money supply. They've both been quietly eating away at your purchasing power for years. Today, the dollar's value has dropped significantly. You feel it every time you spend money on goods and services. Back in 1965, $1 or an ounce of silver could buy you a gallon of milk. Fast forward to today. That same dollar barely buys a couple of coffee creamers, while an ounce of silver would get you 8 gallons of milk. Gold and silver have held their value for centuries. If you had 2,500 ounces of silver back in 1965, you could buy a brand new Ford Mustang. Today, 2,500 ounces of silver would buy you 2 Mustangs. Similarly, in the year 2000, 628 ounces of gold would buy a new $170,000 home. Today, 628 ounces would buy you a $2,500,000 home. The problem? 95% of Americans don't own physical gold or silver. They think it's too complicated and too expensive. but it doesn't have to be. We offer a membership program that allows you to buy gold or silver with as little as $1. You can buy fractional amounts, safely vault them, or have them delivered to your doorstep. And you can liquidate them whenever you want at the highest buyback price in the industry. Ready to protect your wealth and keep your purchasing power? Scan the QR code or go to tafw.soundmoney.com to learn more.
All right, live from Studio 6B on a Friday night, live at the America First Warehouse. Live at the America First Warehouse on a Friday, Real America's Voice, all across the country, 103.9 LI News Radio, all across your radio, Suffolk County, Long Island. Glad you're in.
It's me, Joe the Box.
And I'm John the Blanket with the America First Podcast.
That's what I'm talking about. The Fred Rubino Podcast coming to you from the America First Warehouse.
Welcome to Right for America. Issues that unite, don't ignite.
I'm James Justice. We got Stephen Ruth over here. What are we doing, Steve? Fighting!
Welcome to the Patriots Podcast. Good evening, everyone. We live stream every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. right here from the America First Warehouse, the most patriotic venue in all the land.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the On the Right Side podcast here at the America First Warehouse in Long Island, New York.
Welcome to Liberty's Cage, the podcast tearing down the walls of America's broken justice system.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin Downey Jr. Podcast. Be free, stay free.
Welcome to Suffocating in Suburbia with me, your host, Stevie GB.
Hello, everyone. Again, I'm Shane Jenkins, your host on Liberty's Cage. Again, the wonderful Sarah McAbee has the evening off, but I have a new sidekick, Ethan Nordine, Proud Boy extraordinaire, soon-to-be podcaster extraordinaire, supplement provider, and hopefully we can get you as a sponsor for the show, possibly get you to be a sponsor for the other podcasters at the AmericaFirstWarehouse.com. Check them out. Joe the Box, you know, everybody over there, the gang, we love them. But I kind of wanted to ask you, again, this is Ethan Nordine. I wanted to ask you, what is your podcast going to be about? Like, is there a theme to it, or is it just kind of share that with us?
Well, you know, I've spent the last 10 years, 4 of which I was in prison, but basically trying to be on the front line of this battle of truth and what's good and what's right. You know, I believe that Christ is king. I believe that that's something you should be unapologetic about, relentlessly, like almost rude. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that that's been really lost on us in the last 100 years or so. And that really dives into a lot of the problems we're seeing with men and masculinity, the lack of leadership in our communities and our politics. And it's been degrading our culture. It's been degrading our way of life for quite some time now. I would imagine, I would bet that everything that we're facing right now, from us being locked up, from COVID, from, you know, everything that's been such a huge ordeal within just the confines of America, not even talking about the world, has been a reflection of us separating ourselves from God. And the degradation of that. And then also on top of that, the passive Christianity that has been taught to a lot of our boys. Like, I don't know how you were brought up, but I was taught a very passive faith. And that's not to say that we should just be violent, but, you know, somebody put it really nicely to me recently. It was, you know, you forgive and you pray for your enemies. You don't forgive and pray for God's enemies.
That's right.
Okay, because there's a difference between somebody who's wronged you that used to be your friend, or somebody who's personally attacked you, and that's your personal endeavor, that's your personal challenge, that's your personal journey. But the pedophiles that take our children and sell them into human trafficking, that is something to be dealt with.
I agree.
And and to smite, on sight, to me. And I don't think that's something that I think that is something that people struggle with, especially Christians. Well, we're supposed to forgive. God calls us to forgive. God also calls us to be protectors. Mm-hmm. And so you can't be a protector unless you're willing. I mean, literally, you cannot be a protector unless you're willing to kill. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if your line is in the sand is, I refuse to kill.
Don't you know violence is never the answer, Ethan? That's why police carry firearms. That's why the military carries firearms and bullets. And violence is never the answer. If we get bombed by Iran, we should just pray for them. And
we should pray. We should pray for our enemies, even as they send nuclear warheads our way. Let's just pray.
David shouldn't have killed Goliath. I mean, that was wrong.
Faith without works is dead, by the way. Quite literally, we have a lot of these sayings. Hesitation is death. And God calls us to not fear. Do not fear is probably the most popular saying in the entire Bible. Over and over and over again, it says, do not fear. And I think that's something that I really want to instill in men. I have a reputation that stands pretty tall and pretty strong, in standing for what I believe in and not budging. Even in the midst of facing 18 years in prison, even in the midst of some of these situations where, we're fighting Antifa in the streets and hand-to-hand combat and people are trying to stab me, shoot me, blow me up with mortars, and not really knowing what the hell we're doing, but just, whether we're doing the right thing or not, we're present, And one of my favorite verses, I can't quote it specifically, but it was, who will go before us? God is calling who will go before us, and is send me. Here am I, send me. And it's like one of the coolest things, because if you look at that, and I really want to try and bring this into light with men, is like, there isn't a location that's being specified. There isn't a destination or who's going to be there or who's going to be against you. He's simply saying, who will go before us? Who will allow me to send them? Well, send me where? That's not the question. Well, am I going to be by myself or with an army? That's not the question either. And that's kind of speaks to like where we're at right now.
Right.
And what we're battling, especially with men, is sometimes you're going to be on your own. Sometimes it's going to feel very lonely. Sometimes, even your family is going to be against you, and it's going to feel stupid, and you're going to feel dumb. And sometimes that's the point is, we're faced with decisions a lot of times in our life, especially as men, especially as leaders, that you're come to a fork in the road where you can choose the smart decision or you can choose the right decision. You can conserve your career and your friendships, and, maybe it's smart financially for you to go this way and stay out of the limelight. But I've always been that stubborn ass that's just like, just so I can't do it. I just can't. I would lose everything I've earned just to spite you, kind of a thing. And I think that's speaks to like the character that you see in a lot of these disciples and the stories that you see from these men. And I think that God chose these people for a reason. They're like these kind of sinful natured men, the rebellious. Hard-headed, yeah. Because it's those men that are going to be there with you on the front line. It's those men that are going to put their lives on the line for something that's right. And, I really wanted to touch on that in an unforgiving, unapologetic way.
No, for sure. Can I read you something? So actually, I'm executive director or whatever, co-founder of Stand in the Gap. But the stand in the gap comes from the Bible, right? It's it's Ezekiel 22:28, and it says, and through 30, it says, her prophets plastered them with untempered mortar, seeing false visions and divining lies for them, saying, thus says the Lord God, when the Lord had not spoken. The people of the land have used oppressions, committed robbery, and mistreated the poor and needy, and they wrongfully oppressed the stranger. So I sought for a man among them who would make a wall and stand in the gap before me on behalf of the land, that I should not destroy it. But I found no one. And that is a scary thing to think about. If you think about, like, God sought somebody to just stand. Like, he didn't say where. Like you said, he didn't say it was going to be pretty. He didn't say he wasn't going to kill you. It wasn't going to cost you your life. It wasn't going to cost you 18 years in prison, 7 years in prison. He said, I sought for somebody to stand in the gap. And he sought a man. He didn't seek a boy. He didn't seek a girl, a transgender, none of that. He said, I sought a man to stand before me. You know what I mean? And so I think that goes right along with what you're saying. I love that. And I think that is, I want to point the finger at the pastors and say this passive Christianity that we've inherited is their fault. But I truly believe that it's our fault. That we, if you read with understanding, you pray and seek God's face and seek understanding of his word, then you will understand exactly the meaning of his word and what it truly stands for. You don't need to be fed from another pastor. You obviously need the community of the church, but I think the battle that we're fighting in is one on the home front. Like the first church you got to make sure is in order is the one in your house with your wife and your kids and all that, and then you go to the church and you work on getting that in order and make sure the gospel message is according to what we believe male leadership should be like. But this world is out of whack. Like I have a church down here. It's a Mormon church, and they've got the transgender flag hanging in the front window, and they've got the transgender flag hanging on the sign out by the street. I don't know if it's Mormons. It might be another denomination, but I did a video on TikTok about it or whatever. It's just really frustrating. It's so confusing to people, as if there's not enough watered down doctrine to go around. Yeah. Whether it's like the prosperity doctrine that Joel Osteen teaches that. He said, God knows who you are. He knows which team you're on. He knows what you deserve. And I said, what I deserve? You know what I deserve? I deserve to burn in hell for eternity if it were not for the blood of Jesus Christ. That's what I deserve. And so anything that I'm given after that is grace. I don't have any expectations for what I get. I do believe he loves me and blesses me with all different kinds of things. But I don't feel like he owes me a single thing.
Right, yeah, and this is the reality. We are at the peak, the pinnacle, the turning point, whatever you want to call it, at the head of the biggest, most prestigious war since the dawn of time of good versus evil. This is a war. It's the war of the spirit, the mind, and the body, and it is coming from all fronts, and we're realizing that now. We're experiencing what a lot of people refer to as the Great Awakening, and they call it that for a reason, because we were asleep. The generations before us got comfortable and kind of allowed for these things to move in and set in because, it didn't really bother us personally, so why should we care? And that's kind of the mentality that the devil uses. It's very subtle. Very subtle things that just slightly move you off your path, but more so your children, because you create a normal dynamic that we're seeing now with kids, with this whole transgender thing, homosexuality, and I don't care what people think. If they think I'm a bigot, if they think I'm a racist, I don't care, because first and foremost, I'm a man of God. Okay, I am a child of God, and I see people as children of God, and I see people as children of Satan too. And so that's how I judge the world. Right. And if you are worshiping Satan, you are my enemy. Now, I will pray for you, and hopefully I will have an opportunity to, bring you back. Right? That would be the greatest gift. But I also have a responsibility as a man, and the things that I've seen personally and I've endured, I understand what's at stake, just as you do. And I don't want my family to go through that. And, we're reading 12 minutes right now.
Go ahead. We got it. You're good. That's fine. We'll be okay.
Okay. Well, I'll just finish up by saying, we can transition into talking about our leaders, the caliber of people, what a man is, and who we elect to represent us men, and why that's important. So, are we doing another segment? I can't remember.
Yeah, we're going to do another segment.
Okay.
Probably run long on that one. It's fine. Again, I'm Shane Jenkins, your host today on Liberty's Cage, and this is my brother and my friend. And I don't throw that word around lightly. You are my friend and my brother. And so we will be back with Ethan Nordine and more Liberty's Cage right after this on the AmericaFirstWarehouse.com. God bless you all.
You've worked hard and saved. but inflation and increased money supply are eroding your buying power. Protect and grow your wealth with physical gold and silver. Sound Money. With a Sound Money wallet, your wealth stays in your control. Buy fractionally, vault securely, ship directly, and instantly liquidate your gold and silver at the highest buyback price in the industry. Real money, real ownership. Visit tafwsoundmoney.info or scan the QR code and start securing your financial future today.
The America First Ultra MAGA store. For all your MAGA needs. We sell t-shirts, tumblers, flags, hats, sneakers, bumper stickers, and a whole lot more. The most patriotic America First retail store. The America First Ultra MAGA store.
The America First Warehouse. Live at the America First Warehouse on a Friday. Real America's Voice all across the country. 103.9 LI News Radio all across your radio. Suffolk County, Long Island. Glad you're in.
Corporate transfer. Fine professional, moving and storage, and inventory management.
America First Warehouse was really the most patriotic venue that you can ever imagine. We wanted to build something for people to be able to come to and feel so comfortable and so relaxed, because there is nothing out there like it. We give an opportunity for people to really feel good about themselves and about this great country.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the Late Night Thunderstorm with Shane Jenkins and Ethan Nordine. Actually, no, it's Liberty's Cage, but we're just having a little bit of fun. I get to hang out with my brother. I haven't seen him in a long time. We did some hard and some, we had some fun in the D.C. jail, but it's an honor to have you on, brother. I'm glad to see you're doing well. I was worried you were going to fall off the face of the earth. I hadn't seen you in forever. I hardly talked to you. I'm sure, I don't know if you want to share family business, but you got some good news, I think, and you're working and taking care of that. And but I'm happy to have you here. This is broadcast on the AmericaFirstWarehouse.com network, which I don't know if you know Joe the Box and all the people up there at the America First Warehouse. Do you know?
God, I don't know. I'm potentially, man. I'm more of a face guy. I've forgotten
We got to get you up there. These people are freaking phenomenal. They film the show live at Studio 6B there at the warehouse every Friday night. I've got to meet those guys, got to be on their show. Phenomenal people. Just everybody up there. I'm a Southern guy, right? And so I don't know, about the Yankee doodle dandy thing. And all that. New York people are kind of loud, and no offense to you guys, I want to say that these people, like Scott Fairlamb, he's from New Jersey. Good Lord, loud as hell.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of abrasive to me, just the way I was raised. Quiet, yes ma'am, no ma'am. Try to be respectful, not be, noisy or anything, but, whatever. But these people off in Long Island and Ronkonkoma, man, phenomenal people. I can't wait for you to meet Teresa and the whole crew up there.
Heck yeah, man.
We'll have to get you
Yeah.
up there.
I'm getting started with this new podcast. It's going to be A1 Uncensored, the A1 Uncensored show. And A1 is stands for Armor One, which is my company. That's I just started. It's going to basically be supplements. I make my own supplements personally by hand. I've been doing it for years. I just got started up now that I got out of prison, and back at it. And I'm into bodybuilding and stuff like that. So it's been something that's been close to my heart and close to something something I'm passionate about for a long time. And bringing that into this whole fight for truth is a really smooth kind of transition. It kind of coincides with what we're already kind of doing and what we're battling, and I just want people to have something that they can take, that they can trust, and from somebody that has been on the front line of this whole battle for truth and awareness, like yourself.
When do the supplements drop? Because I work out a little bit here and there. I'm interested in getting in on some of that.
Yeah, well, I'm just working on the payment processing right now, which has been a pain in the ass. But we got a guy that we're working with right now, just getting all the banking information and everything. Once that's done, we got a guy. It's all about who you know, not what you know. But so once that goes through, I'll be ready to go because I got everything ready to go right now. I could start shipping out tomorrow, basically.
So what do you? I mean, you got pre-workout, you got creatine, you got protein powder, you got.
No protein right now. Protein requires a lot of quantity and a lot of storage because it's like a big bulky product. Right. But I do pre-workout. I do a really great performance I call it performance. My energy performance formula.
I figured it would be like Hulk Smash pre-workout.
No, it's called Bangarang, actually. Yeah.
I like that Bangarang. There you go.
Yeah, and I incorporated like lion's mane and some other stuff, like for a lot of brain function, a lot of focus agents that are really good, really healthy. But yeah, I'm working on a lot of stuff. Really big into supplements. Really big into, naturopath healing and stuff like that. So,
so if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are one of the unpardoned 12. Is that correct or?
Yes.
So how has that impacted your life as far as employment or whatever? Has it created obstacles? Obviously, you have felonies on your record. I'm somebody who already had felonies on my record, so I already kind of knew how to maneuver through this world like that. But you're kind of limited as far as being able to get a good job or whatever. So what kind of obstacles has that created for you being unpardoned?
Yeah. I don't know if there's something extra put on us. My theory is that there's something tied to our social securities, because every time I've tried to apply for anything, I get like you're under review, or you just get dropped altogether. Like bank accounts, like I cannot have a mainstream bank account. There's only one bank account that I can have. That's Old Glory Bank. That's a big supporter of ours. J6ers. Yeah. The only bank account I can have.
Man, I also bank with Old Glory, so that's awesome, man.
Yeah. So and it took a while for me to kind of get hooked up with them and whatnot, but after I did, it was a smooth transition. Getting a rental house or anything like that, background checks. Same thing with jobs, background checks.
Well, so Colton Maccabee shared, and I've heard it from other people, that it'll if they do a background check, it pulls up X, Y, and Z charges from January 6th, whatever, and it shows everything, right? Sedition or whatever is going to show.
Yeah, seditious conspiracy.
And it says in little ink down at the bottom, pardoned by presidential whatever, unconditional pardon or whatever by the president of the United States. So if you encounter anybody who's an employer or concerned, like I don't think you had violence, but if you did have violence, it shows, you have an assault case, and so it still shows these charges even though you were pardoned by the president. And we know the kind of obstacles, like with the cancel culture and all that presents for people.
Yeah.
And so
and a lot of employers, maybe they would be cool taking in anybody with felonies, but then the stigma that comes with the J6 stuff, and a lot of people don't, that's not a big deal. Look, I've been doing this for 10 years. I was a Proud Boy before January 6th. Yeah. And there is a real stigma that people don't want associated with their business. And I have no blame against them at all, because it's a real thing, but it makes it a lot, even the people who support us, it's like at first, yeah, come on, no problem, man. And then
high five, like,
yeah, come on. And then the second you get a customer or somebody that's like, hey, aren't you, and they're like, oh shit, you gotta go, bro. Sorry, you know. And that's happened to me so many times. You know, people don't take it seriously, like, oh, that's not a real thing, you'll be fine. But it's like, how many times do you want to like start a job, train, get to know everything about the job, do good at the job, get fired, and then start all over again?
Yeah.
So I've been just taking my time and starting my own business, because I just want to be my own boss, you know, at this point in my life.
Well, if there's anybody that I believe can do it, I know you're a leader, and I know you're a good man, and I think that you're going to hit your niche right there in that bodybuilding and the supplements area. But I also like it.
The kicking ass arena.
Yeah, hell yeah. But you know, with Stand in the Gap, that's our priority right now, is focusing on the 12 people who have not been pardoned. You know, Joe Biggs awarded Purple Heart. You know, wounded in combat. Can't get his VA benefits. His daughter can't receive his VA benefits because he's a convicted felon. Same thing with Kenneth Harrelson. Same thing with Jessica Watkins. Also,
Dominic Pizzola.
Yeah, Dominic Pizzola. Joe Hackett is, and I don't know some of the other guys. I know their names. I don't know them personally. But Joe Hackett is a licensed chiropractor, and he can't practice his medicine because he's a felon. And so, while first of all, I don't know why this is the case, that you guys are unpardoned. But second of all, like, as far as if you held up my list of deeds that day and you held up yours, I'm more culpable under the law. I'm more culpable and more criminally likely to be found guilty. Yours was more of this fairy tale that they had dreamt up so they could slander the MAGA movement, so they could instill fear in the American people, so they wouldn't go protest anymore, so they could sweep the 2020 election under the rug and never bring it up again because, oh, you support those domestic terrorists, like that kind of deal.
Yeah.
But it's what they forget, and it's kind of what we were talking about earlier, is it's fine when politicians do what they do. It was fine when Jamal Bowman pulled the fire alarm to cancel a congressional hearing. But we go to protest at the Capitol, cancel a congressional hearing. They charge us with the 1512 obstruction of justice because they weren't able to complete the proceedings. So it's rules for them, rules for thee and not for me, for them. You know, they're going to do whatever they want, and damn the regular people. They're going to just walk right all over us, and they're not going to. It's very, very frustrating, and I think that it is just kind of circling back around. You know, they compensate themselves for being spied on, but here we are, 4 weeks away, and all these people are going to walk away from January 6th without a scratch. And meanwhile, you and I, people just like us, January 6th, suffered years in solitary confinement, years without visits with our family, a year without a haircut, a year without fingernail clippers, whatever it was, being 1,000 miles from home in D.C., unable to see my kids, you know, and just a freak. But screw us, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think your point earlier about all these people, this administration, all these this what we would have anticipated as an A team that we have in the FBI and we have in the Trump administration, that you'd think some of us would get a phone call.
Yeah.
You'd think, because, you know, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. Like, I have a really good, the seditious fire and the Proud Boys have a very, very good case to represent the unjust and unfair trial and situation that was J6 and everything encompassing it. We have so much discovery, you know, and no violence. And so if you use our case, which we're also have one of the biggest stigmas of hate against us as well, like all the evil Proud Boys, but it makes for such a juicy case.
Proud Boys.
Yeah, it makes for just such a very juicy case with all the meat and potatoes of everything that happened, you know, whereas some other guys, you know, they shouldn't have got what they got. Some guys were more violent, some guys did some stuff, so they don't. And it's just like, you'd think you'd seek guys like us out and be like, look, use your case to investigate what happened, from the prosecutors, from the D.C. police, Metro Police, the Capitol Police, all the way up to, whoever was calling the shots on this whole thing, like whether that was Merrick Garland or whoever else was involved up top that wasn't necessarily listed. But we're at 12 minutes, so.
Yeah, no, we'll be back, and we'll pick back up on this when we come back on Liberty's Cage. I'm your host, Shane Jenkins, and this is the infamous Mr. Ethan Nordine. We'll be back right after these messages.
Most people think they have options when searching for the best deals when they travel. But here's the shocking truth. 100% of the major travel agencies are owned by just two entities, Expedia and Booking Holdings. They claim to offer the lowest rates, but due to the hotel rate parity agreement, they all have the same pricing, limiting genuine competition. When you book through these sites, you act as your own travel agent, but the profits are going to organizations that don't support our patriot values. We cannot allow that to continue. So, we decided to make travel great again by starting a US-based travel membership platform, mypatriottravel.com. We are patriots helping patriots. Together, we can disrupt the travel industry by not spending our hard-earned dollars supporting the radical left. For just $29.99 per month, you gain access to true wholesale rates on travel, saving you on average 35% and up to 65%. Book as often as you like, with no limits. Keep your hard-earned dollars in your pocket and spend them on things you need and want to support. Go to mypatriottravel.com/TAFW and grab your membership today. mypatriottravel.com/TAFW. Making travel great again.
Hey, fellow patriots, it's Cindy Gross here, host of Right for America, from your favorite place, the America First Warehouse. You've seen me show on my show so many products from this country's #1 most patriotic manufacturer with close to 400 products. You need to exchange the products you use in your house to this company and make your dollars count in our country.
All right, live from Studio 6B on a Friday night, live at the America First Warehouse. Live at the America First Warehouse on a Friday, Real America's Voice, all across the country, 103.9 LI News Radio, all across your radio, Suffolk County, Long Island. Glad you're in.
It's me, Joe the Box, the America First Warehouse, most patriotic venue in all the land.
The America First Warehouse, a beacon for all to see, a symbol of unity. For the patriots of America, we stand tall and free. In the America First Warehouse, where our hearts will always be.
Good afternoon, everyone. Shane Jenkins here with another episode of Liberty's Cage. Today is kind of a special day. I get to be in here with my Gulag brother and close friend, Proud Boy, Mr. Pan Man himself. But we're blessed to have you here today. We are going to talk about some things that he has going on. He's got a supplement line coming out. He's about to start a podcast. And you know that Liberty's Cage is a place where we like to tell the stories of all our J6ers and just kind of be a family. And so welcome to the show, Ethan Nordine. Happy to have you here, man.
Heck yeah, man. Good to have you bring me on. It's been a while since we talked, and, a lot of stuff's happened. Also, a lot of stuff hasn't happened. And so whatever you want to dive into, man, because I know there's a lot, I'll just bounce off of you.
Okay. Well, first I want to start, and I just mentioned this off the air, but senators and Congress people have I believe they signed it into legislation. I'll give you the gist of it. They basically said that because they were spied on, and I don't know if it was the FBI, CIA, NSA, whoever it was, one of the three-letter agencies was spying on them, on Congress, that they wrote it into a bill that, because they were under such duress that they should be compensated financially for that. And I just found that really, really interesting that their insider stock trading and multi-million-dollar portfolio is not enough compensation for them to fight on. What do you think about that deal?
I would imagine that there would be more precedence to the FBI and intelligence agencies spying maybe on the senators and congressmen, and just take this, from a perspective of safety and security in which these intelligence agencies are supposed to operate. Ensuring that these individuals are actually doing their jobs, that they're not corrupt, that they don't have, foreign ties, etc. Versus these intelligence agencies spying on American civilians. I would imagine that would probably be something that our forefathers would look at as probably worse, you know what I mean? Because these are state employees, these are federal employees. So what are they really... what kind of harm are they really enduring versus the average American citizen who gets thrown in prison and has no means of supporting or fighting for themselves, like we both know. So I think it's a little, with everything else we're going to be talking about, it's just another slap in the face to all the average Joe Schmoes out there that just have to kind of live with, our reality of this country right now.
Well, and to tie it back to January 6th, they still haven't even everybody. I talked to a guy. I think his name is Ned Parker from Reuters. I'll go on enemy press all day. I don't really care. But I spoke to him. I had like a 30-minute conversation with him, and he was like, "Well, Shane, are they doing investigations? Like, is Ed Martin or is the DOJ or Kash Patel or Pam Bondi's offices? Any one of those people? Dan Bongino maybe." Have they reached out to the community, the January 6th community, and asked, like, hey, what did you guys endure? Or what did you go through in the D.C. jail? Or what did you witness at the Capitol that day? Or did you really try to overthrow the government? Or would you mind just opening your phone and sharing with us? In all transparency, I would be happy to show my phone or my text messages or emails or whatever that led up to January 6th, just so they can know what the real story is. But they haven't. And here we are. Right. We're looking at, I don't know what is today. I don't even know what today is. The 9th? The 8th? But it's less than 30 days until the statute, about 4 weeks, until the statute of limitations runs out on any kind of prosecutions for the real perpetrators of January 6th. And when I say perpetrators, I would say Capitol Police, D.C. Metro Police, I would say Nancy Pelosi, I would say Muriel Bowser. I say Capitol Police, but some of them were acting inappropriate. Some of them were letting people in, and then they ended up getting prosecuted after. The Capitol Police only had 200 of 2,000 total officers on duty that day when there's like 1.5 million people protesting a very hotly contested election where a lot of people's feelings were pretty, bent out of shape over that. And here they have 10% of their total labor force is there at the Capitol. What in the hell? And not only that, Muriel Bowser and Nancy Pelosi refused the National Guard. If they would have had a perimeter of National Guard or like Humvees or whatever and said, hey, you guys can come up this far, but just stay there, protest, make your voices heard, it would have been a whole different scenario. None of us would have spent 4 years in jail. What do you say to that?
Well, it's kind of an onion of a situation. There's multiple layers to it. I always go back to, nobody has ever really considered, the fact of the matter that the president of the United States, the current sitting president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, was telling the American public to go to the Capitol, that the election was being stolen. Now, whether you believe that that's true or not isn't really relevant, but we're having to talk about the chain of command, the highest echelon of power, the executive branch is telling the American people. And, you kind of boil it down. It's just like, does that fall under civic duty? Does it fall under an order from your superior? You have these questions that are kind of silly when you bring them up in court. But if, say, Donald Trump ordered the National Guard, or maybe the Marine Corps or something in that regard. Hey, the election is being stolen. I'm putting an executive order down. I'm stopping and neutralizing all court proceedings until there's been transparency brought and high investigations into these, the voter fraud allegations. And that would probably go through I would say the leadership, and they would all say like, okay, yeah, he's allowed to do that. Whether they side with him or not, they wouldn't probably oppose that. And so, well, why is it that, when the American citizens ever get involved with anything, that we're just kind of scoffed at and laughed at? We have to endure everything. Nobody ever really gets investigated when we get wronged. But take for example that I think it was Air National Guardsman. He was like 20-something years old, and we were locked up during this period of time, and he had leaked classified documents like on his gamer profile, and the guy got like 18. I don't know what time he got, but he got a significant amount of time. Now, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do and that he shouldn't have been punished, but at the end of the day, this guy had access to it. He was 21 years old. His superiors left this open for him to see. It wasn't really within his
scope of responsibility.
Scope of responsibility, and they hammer him. And so it goes to show you that if you join the Marine Corps, if you join the Army, if you join the whatever branch of the military, and you put your life on the line and you volunteer to go put yourself in harm's way to defend this country, one small mistake or even one lapse of judgment, like leaking classified documents on your gamer can result in years immediately. You're like, this guy is going to he's going to get tried and convicted like within less than a year. But if you are a sitting official, a congressman or senator or anybody that was involved, whether it's Metro Police or Capitol Police that day, and there is just loads of evidence to suggest whether it's Roseanne Boylan getting beaten to death while she was unconscious, or whether it was Ashley Babbitt who was shot, an unarmed woman climbing through a window. And you can make any argument you want. I know the rules of engagement just like you probably do. I've done a lot of security. There is no reality anywhere within the scope of the United States where you're given a weapon, a firearm, and your first response is to an unarmed woman crawling through a window or crawling through a door or whatever, charging you, is to first respond with lethal force. No. Right. And that guy hasn't been prosecuted. In fact, he was awarded and he's been protected. So it's like, it really kind of like boils down to where we're at right now, I think is a big turning point, no pun intended. Right. To where Americans are. And we're kind of, I think a lot of people are coming to, the realization that whether it's COVID or January 6th or anything else has happened, that the government does not have our best interests in mind. There's no accountability. We don't really know what the hell's going on, what's true and what isn't. And so will there be investigations? And here's the thing, I don't want investigations. I want indictments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm kind of tired of the investigations.
Ethan, they put together the new January 6th committee, and they're supposed to, are they going to wait till the statute of limitations and stuff and then roll out this January 6th committee? But look at all the stuff we found. But, sorry, the clock ran out, so they're not going to be held accountable for it.
Right.
You know what? Sorry, America. We're sorry to all you people who suffered, all those 1,600 families that we impacted and put in, canceled, put in prison, whatever. Labeled domestic terrorists, whatever you did to them. Y'all don't worry about that. We'll take care of that. No, you're not. No, you're not.
Yeah. And it's just becoming the same old song. Whether COVID was the same thing. There's no accountability. It's all kind of brushed under the rug. Even people, American civilians who took the jab, took the booster, the second booster, the third booster, and even now, as all this evidence is coming out that this shit was killing people, that you're far more likely to die by taking this stuff than you are just like enduring COVID or whatever the hell people were getting. I got COVID while I was locked up twice, and it did not compare at all to what I was seeing guys go through when they were getting the fucking jab. Right. And there's just no accountability. There's no, you were right, or you guys aren't crazy anti-vax. It's just never do we get
an apology. Like, hey,
anything.
That was a bad call about COVID. About
just anything. And even G6, like, say our name. You know, say something. Do something. Like, throw an event for us and give us some hamburgers or something. And just be like, hey, you know, something, man.
A T-shirt.
Like, and I'm not saying that because I feel like I deserve it or anything, but the principle behind it, what it means, because there's so many great men that you and I have met, and we're running out of time here almost, but that went through this, that have fought and nearly died for this country, and got treated like we got treated, and barely get just let out, and then that just call it good. Oh, we'll let you out. It's just like, well, that's not what the justice is. That's just doing what you're supposed to do, letting us out of something that we shouldn't have been in. So
We'll be back with more Liberty's Cage right after this with Ethan Nordine. I'm your host, Shane Jenkins. Sarah McAbee has taken, we're pre-recording this, so she took the evening off, but we love y'all. We'll be back in just a few moments.